It is Friday, which means it is time to talk about the latest episode of Beyblade X, which is episode 5. In this episode, we see the introduction of Manju King with Leon Claw, and then the rest of Team Zanic. And in summary, I liked it a lot. Let's start off by talking about episode 4 and kind of do a big recap for that episode as well, because I didn't make a video about that one. The whole plot of episode 4 of Beyblade X is Team Persona needing a Bay sponsor, which is kind of just like a sports team sponsor like in normal sports. Bird definitely has these super high expectations of what corporate sponsor they're going to get, but it turns out they're going to be sponsored, hopefully, by a little sushi shop. That's it. So they go to this little sushi shop that is sandwiched between these big corporations, and out pops a little guy Taisho. And he is accompanied by Mako Maiden, who is becoming a fan favorite character because reasons. Taisho is pretty cool. He used to have this dream of becoming a pro blader at some point in his youth, but then because of the sushi shop and then because of life, he had to give up on his dream. But now he wants to become a Bay sponsor to have that dream again. Sort of. However, in order to prove that Team Persona is even strong enough to need a sponsor or deserve a sponsor, all 3 of the members have to battle Mako Maiden. There are a bunch of newer bays in episode 5, from Shark Edge to Leon Claw at the very end, and if you want to get them for yourself in real life, definitely check out Mall of Toys. They have Leon Claw, Viper Tail, Grand Sword, Hell Scythe up for sale right now, and they also have the November releases, which just came out, up for sale as well, like Dran Dagger, Hell's Chain, and Rhino Horn, who is another member of Team Zanic. So go and check out Mall of Toys, links in the description down below, or you can scan the QR code. Make sure to use code ILLINOOK to get 5% off of your first purchase. The first one to go up is X with Dran Sword, and you think this might be a really crazy battle, but midway through, Shark Edge kind of lets up, and it seems like Mako let him win. The next battle is a fun one. It is Bird versus Mako, a Hell Scythe versus Shark Edge, and initially the battle is going pretty well for Bird. It's, making some strikes here and there, and Bird's hyped. However, of course, Mako used to be a pro blader back in the day, so she is really strong, and she ends up winning the battle with a burst finish. No problem. Bird loses yet again. So then the final battle is Multi versus Maiden, Shark Edge versus one of Multi's bays, and for this episode, she brings out a new bay with Night Lance. So the battle starts off, and Night Lance is immediately rocking side to side like maybe there was a mistake, but no, Multi launched like that on purpose. She launched Night Lance with a little bit of an angle, so that way the metal part of the blade is always kind of facing outwards, so that way Shark Edge can't get underneath the bay and send the bay out of the stadium. So because of this counterattack measure, Multi activates Night Lance's special move, which sends Shark Edge out of the stadium, and overall, Team Persona wins 2-1. And with that win, Team Persona now officially has a required bay sponsor in order to be a part of the X Tower. At the very end of the episode, after the team has already moved in, Multi overhears something, so she goes down the stairs and sees Bird kind of practicing by himself, and he's practicing his launches, his launch angles, just training to be stronger. This whole scene was not in the manga. It's an anime-only edition, which I definitely really like. In the manga, I mean, Bird is cool, all the art's cool, whatever, but Bird just kind of loses all the time, but he doesn't really seem to try and be better. Meanwhile, in the anime, we're seeing signs that he's trying to improve, so cool scene. So with that, episode 4 is done, and we can move on to episode 5, where we get the introduction of Team Zanic. So the episode starts off with Team Persona walking into the X Tower at the very bottom, and of course Bird is super excited because, he's a pro blader now, and he's just excited for the future. Then we get an introduction to an AI character named Ichigo, I believe is her name, and she has this like electricity theme. Kind of looks like a Pokemon character to me, but she's kind of like an AI announcer. Persona kind of talks amongst themselves before scanning a card that allows them into kind of like the back rooms of the X Tower. There's people training, there's other bladers there, and then they go into their own arena, kind of their own training room, and then they start to battle. Before they battle though, they kind of turn the room on. There's TVs, there's kind of a ring that goes around the stadium. It's not just a normal stadium battle. So then the battle between Bird and X starts, and you already pretty much know how this is going to go, but it's not really a serious battle or a competitive one. This battle is mainly there to show off what the dragon avatar from Dran's sword looks like, which is also something that everybody can see. So the avatars for this generation aren't just a figment of the Blader's imagination, they actually exist, or at least they sort of do. They don't exist on their own. It's definitely part of the stadium, a part of the arena. It's called the 4X system in the manga, and it pretty much is like an augmented reality thing that just can showcase the avatars, but they don't actually exist. After the battle, Ichigo shows up, and Bird starts to be a little bit of a pest. He's super excited, starts to bring up his phone and take pictures, which of course really annoys her. I mean, if somebody came up to you and just started taking pictures of you, you'd probably be annoyed too. The next thing we see is Bird bring out a notepad and kind of start to write down notes from what Multi is telling him, because, you know, Bird's not really a true pro, so he's got a lot to learn. The group is then approached by an adult, and I assume he's a Bay sponsor, and he kind of points out just how involved other Bay sponsors are and how important they are, which is a little bit intimidating. Every other Blader and every other team has these kind of really involved and really powerful looking sponsors, which Persona doesn't have. I may be reading into this wrong, but it doesn't really seem that important. We then get a scene that is from the manga. A big TV turns on, and it's an interview with Ryugu, who is the leader of Team Pendragon, who uses Cobalt Drake. He's just kind of talking a little bit, but then he mentions that there is someone out there that he really does want to battle, which we could assume to mean Common X. And speaking of a battle with Common X, something that I didn't mention until now was at the very beginning of this episode, we got what looks to be either a look into the future or maybe the past. We see Ryugu with Cobalt Drake going up against X with Dran's sword. We've seen little hints of this battle before, but we definitely see way more of it now, and I'm sure it's not the last time we'll see it either. The next thing we see is a televised battle between the leader of Team Phalanx, who, by the way, was the one who crushed Bird's original Beyblade, and he's going up against Manju King, who is a Blader we have not seen before. He's pretty small in stature, but he has this kind of fierce animal look to him, and he uses the Bay Leon Claw, which, by the way, if you want to see an unboxing of that Bay, I have one on my channel. The battle starts off with Stone Mont Blanc taking the center, of course, with Leon Claw making repetitive strikes, and then they swap positions. Leon Claw stops being aggressive and then stays in the middle and forces a defense type Bay with Stone Mont Blanc to be aggressive, but it doesn't really work. We then see a really cool bit of animation with an up-close shot of King's face just looking super menacing, and then we see an X-dash special move from Leon Claw, King of Beasts, that sends Stone Mont Blanc out of the stadium. You can definitely see that Team Zanic is looking to be pretty strong, pretty imposing, and they are the next opponents to Team Persona. So Team Persona's got it pretty rough. And that's where the episode ends, and I assume episode 6, which is the next episode, we'll take more of an in-depth look at Team Zanic and maybe even get the first couple of rounds in their battle. So overall, what did you guys think? For my thoughts, I definitely really liked this episode. Starting with episode 4, I really enjoyed that one as well. The battles, between Mako and the rest of the characters weren't the most extreme or the most exciting, but for the plot, it was nice. And then this latest episode with episode 5, once again, really cool. We do see some nicer animation moments, with the dragon for Dran's sword popping out, and then that final battle with Leon Claw looking really nice. But once again, pretty good from a plot point of view. This latest episode definitely had some weird animation moments though. One of them was the kind of explanation of what the avatars are and how they work. The Dran's sword avatar that pops out right then looks nothing like the one that you see battling just like 3 seconds ago. The proportions are weird and the face shape is completely different. I don't know what was going on there. The next animation issue, which looks to be kind of a mistake, is whenever they were at the bottom of the X Tower and it was showcasing a bunch of bays behind glass and on the walls. They were all bays we've seen before, just in different colors. So it looks like there's only 5 bays in existence. Another issue is that it looked like the models of the X bays were put on top of placeholder models. This picture is kind of blurry. You can't really see it that well, We can kind of see little pokes of what looks to be a burst Beyblade underneath Shark Edge. Maybe it's like a Valkyrie, maybe it's like a Valkyrie V2. It's kind of what it looks like to me. That's definitely kind of an animation issue, and I'm surprised, that made it past quality check. But those were just some animation issues that were just on screen for like a second or two. Really not the biggest deal. Overall, the episodes were pretty good. But let me know what you guys think of episode 4 and 5 in the comments down below. And if you're excited to see just how strong and just how imposing Team Zanic is in the next couple of episodes. I don't know if I'll review episode 6 just by itself. I may do like episode 6, 7, 8 all at one time, depending on just how much stuff happens. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have fun and bay away.